Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me on today's broadcast. My name is Dave Irvin, and welcome to I Need Christ Now. Let me tell you what this program is all about. This is our first one, and what we're about is saving souls. Saving souls for God. God is so good. And let me tell you something. It's not about Buddha. It's about Jesus Christ. It's about no one else but Jesus Christ. He is Lord. Through him, you get to God, and he is the only way to God. And we want to make that clear, that he is the only way to God. We're talking about Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. Now, before we get into the show, God actually, he had put something on my heart to share with you all today. And what it is, it's about a vision or a dream that God gave me. And wow, this happened in around 1998, 99 is when he gave me this dream. He never released me to actually speak about it until now. So this is going to be the time when I'm going to talk about it for the first time. I guess I talked to a couple of friends of mine over the years, but this is the first time I'm really going out with other people and letting people know what it's about. So here's the dream. The dream started off with me. I was kind of like in a backyard. In a backyard of like an apartment complex, if that makes any sense. And what was going on was, it was like a bunch of guys coming up to me, and they were trying to hit me in my chest. And it was as if they were trying to inaugurate me into a gang of some type. And but the interesting thing was, I was dodging all of them. Every time somebody would come up and try to hit me, I would dodge them and they would miss. So I was dodging all these guys coming up to me trying to like hit me in my chest. Then the next thing was, I ended up on the ground, like it was like a curb on the street. And I was laying down like I was hiding. And I remember seeing a truck, and it looked like one of those news trucks. As a matter of fact, it was like a news truck, and a microwave on the top of it where they could go live and things like that. You know, so I saw that, and I remember the next thing was, I was inside of the truck driving it. So when I was driving this truck, it was like going up and down these hills. Up and down these hills. And then all of a sudden, I went down and hit the bottom, and it was like I crashed, like bam. And the interesting thing was, I just remember saying to myself when I crashed was, I'm not hurt. So then I remember, okay, it happened again. I was in a truck, the same truck it seems like, and there was somebody with me. And I don't know who it was, but somebody was with me during this time. And I was going up and down these hills again. And then next thing you know, boom, I crashed. And that happened like maybe 2 more times. And then all of a sudden, I was on a roller coaster. And I was going up the roller coaster. And you know how you get kind of scared. And I remember somebody was sitting next to me on my right side. And I went all the way to the top of the roller coaster, and then as we were going over, and you know how you think you're gonna, I was waiting for the release to go zoom, go real fast. It never released. It never went fast. It just slowly went down to the bottom of the hill or the roller coaster. It just slowly went down. Then when I got to the bottom of the roller coaster, I just stepped off of the roller coaster. And then I remembered I looked ahead, and I'm in Washington D.C. And from people around here, they know that if you go to the metro station, you know how it looks when you get to the escalator, and you can, if you're underground, you go to the escalator and then you're going up. That's the way it looked like. And I walked towards that escalator, and then I started walking up the escalator, or got on the escalator and started riding up the escalator. And I remember this. I remember as I was going up the escalator, I remember there was like television equipment coming down on the left, but they were going down and I was going up. And it was real interesting. But I do remember being real happy. I saw all this equipment and this movie equipment. This was like, this is like film cameras and the big giant 4K or 8K, whatever they're called, lights and stuff. And I just remember looking at all this movie equipment, being happy as I was going up this escalator. And then I got to the top of the escalator, and I remember looking up in the air, and I remember seeing they were like these birds, but they were silver, like robotic birds, and they were flying all real crazy and everything. They were just going real crazy and flying and stuff, and I was like, wow, it just looked real crazy. Then the next thing was, I was in a helicopter, and this helicopter was taking off, but it would go up, come down, and crash. Now, the crash wasn't a bad crash. It was more of a thump when it came down. And then it did it again a couple of times. It went up and then came back down, and boom, the same thing. It did it about 3 times. And the last part of the dream was, I remember looking up, and coming from behind me, coming over top of my head, was like a B-52 bomber, but it was going away from me. And I remember looking up, and it was a bullseye, just like a target, a red and white target. And it was a bullseye, and it was like underneath of the belly was written Hollywood. Now, I don't know exactly what that means. I'm not an interpreter. I have no idea what it means. As a matter of fact, anybody listening, if you could write in the comments and tell me if you think you might know what that could be, that I would appreciate it. But, it was real interesting. And I remember that dream to this day. And that was like one of the first times God showed me a dream. And to this day, I remember every part of it. I remember when I first got that dream, I remember jumping up out of the bed, and I went to the computer and I typed it up right then. I typed up the dream and just wrote it down, because I knew it was God. I knew it was so important. I just had no clue about, what it was about or when should I say something. But right now I feel like it is that time to go ahead and say something about, that dream. So that's what I want to share with you all today. I'm going to start getting into getting people saved, and we're going to do some teachings and things like that coming up in the very near future. I want to thank everybody for listening to this. If you're tuning into this, and even the recording, if you come by here and you see this, I appreciate you. Remember, you can always get in contact with us. If you have any questions or make a comment, you can do it at ineedchristnow@gmail.com. Remember this, y'all, that he who has began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. I appreciate y'all, and God bless.